Today we're taking a deep dive into the NUX B-8 wireless system, suitable for both guitar and bass, and any other instrument that has a jack input. This is not your typical guitar wireless system, as it comes with some really cool extra features that many of you will find handy. The deal with NUX is that I get a free B8 wireless and I do a video review in exchange. Unbiased, of course, so I will be sharing my honest thoughts on this by pointing out the pros and cons. Let's dive right in and open the box to see what's inside. Straight out of the box, you get the user manual, a 1-year warranty card, a NUX sticker, the receiver, the transmitter, a cable to connect your guitar to the transmitter, the adapter, and a USB cable. You also get Velcro and anti-slippery 3M stickers for the base of the receiver for mounting on a pedal board or on the floor. This is the transmitter. As you can see, it is pretty compact and lightweight. You can see it against the palm of my hand here. On the front side, you have the strip that connects magnetically to the receiver for charging. On the top side, you have the USB-C port as an alternative way to charge the transmitter. On the bottom side, you have the mini jack to which you connect the cable that's included. And on the other end, you connect your guitar. On the side, you have a cable tone on-off switch, the power and mute button, and an LED. If the LED is green, that means it is connected. If it's red, that means it is connected but on mute. It's also red when you have the transmitter in charging position on the receiver. And when the battery is full, the light goes off. If it's blinking red, that means that it's not connected to the receiver, which probably means that the receiver is not powered on. If for some reason you want to check the battery status of the transmitter, but you cannot access the receiver, as soon as you turn on the transmitter, if the battery status is more than 75%, the LED will be green before it changes. If it is orange, it means that the battery is between 75 and 50%. If it is red, between 50 and 15%. And if it's blinking red, then it's below 15%. On the back side, you have the clip to fix the transmitter to your guitar strap or belt. I have to say that I love that the cable that comes out of the transmitter is facing parallel to the guitar strap and it's not hanging out of it as with most guitar wireless transmitters. To achieve this with my Shure GLXD transmitter, I don't use the clip, rather I tape the transmitter to the guitar strap so that the cable travels in the same direction as the strap. With this transmitter, I will not have to tape the transmitter to the strap. It might seem like a detail, but if you're moving your guitar a lot on stage, you will often bump into the cable if it's hanging out, and sooner than later you will need a replacement cable. Before going into the receiver, I should say that I have updated the firmware, which adds a couple of features that I will explain later. So if you don't see these features, don't freak out, just update the firmware, it takes only 5 minutes. Go to the NUX website, find the B8 in the products, and scroll all the way down and download the firmware updater and the guide which explains everything very clearly. Moving on to the receiver, which is also a tuner and a booster and a magnetic charger for the transmitter. On the front, you have the 2.4-inch LCD display. Here is the foot switch, a knob to select and control the menu parameters that you can also push and access the menu, the home screen button and the step back button. This is the magnetic strip on which you place the transmitter for charging. At the top side, there is a 9-volt DC barrel plug, the USB-C port, a ground lift switch for the DI output, and an XLR DI output. On the right side, you have the input and the return output, and on the left side, you have the send and return. Let's do a quick explanation of the inputs and outputs of the unit. First off, the input jack is only used in case you want to connect your guitar with a cable directly to the receiver instead of using the transmitter. You might want to do this if you're practicing at home and you don't necessarily need to connect wirelessly, or if the battery of the transmitter has died. Then you can go straight to your amp or your multi-effects unit via the output, and also to a mixer via the XLR DI out. In case you want to use the effects loop, then you send the output to your pedals instead of your amp. And the cable that comes from the pedals should be connected to the return. Then you use the return output to go to your amp or multi-effects unit, and the DI to the mixer. If you connect your guitar with a jack directly to the receiver will detect it and switch to cable-in mode. In this mode, you can only access the tuner and the display and tuner settings. To pair the transmitter and the receiver is easy and fast. You just need to turn on the transmitter and receiver, and they should detect each other and automatically choose the best channel to connect to. When connected, on the home screen you can see the input level, the connection strength, and the battery status. If you want to recharge the transmitter, there are two ways to do it. First, by placing the transmitter in charging position on the receiver, and also with a 5V 500 mA adapter and the USB-C cable included. I like the magnetic charging touch because it's faster and simpler, and you get rid of the USB charging cable for charging the transmitter. It makes it easier to just place the transmitter on the receiver instead of take out the charger, find the plug to connect it to, and then when it's charged do the opposite. Let's go through the home screen and menu. While on the home screen, when you press the foot switch, it activates tuner mode, and while on the tuner mode, when you press the knob, you can choose between the chromatic tuner, the guitar standard, the guitar compensated, and bass tuner. If you press the knob again, you can change the hertz of the tuning. To access the menu, either press the knob in or press the home menu button. The first of the 6 options is display settings. If you press the knob to select it, it opens up the home display, the display orientation, which is a feature of the firmware update, the brightness, the boot up picture, and the language settings. On the home display, you can choose between these 2 options. On the display orientation, you can choose between the horizontal and the 2 vertical orientations depending on how and where you want to place the receiver. On the brightness, you can choose the brightness of the LCD screen. For the boot up picture, you can upload a picture into the receiver and set it as the boot up picture. To do that, you have to download the NUX GIF Customizer application on nuxefx.com and then select the upload picture and confirm, and then connect the B8 to your computer by the USB-C port. Then you can upload JPEG, GIF, or PNG pictures to the app and edit them. This is a cool little feature. Here you can choose the language. On the transmitting setting, you can adjust the transmitting parameter between low latency on the far left, which is 2.5 milliseconds, and stable on the far right, which is 8.7 milliseconds, and everything in between. If you want more stability, then consider moving it to the right, or if you don't and you see that there are no interference issues, you can move it to the left and have the lowest latency, or keep it somewhere in the middle to have a good balance. Personally, I find that both 2.5 and 8.7 milliseconds are not audible, especially live and especially if you're using in-ears. So I would probably keep it somewhere towards the stable side. The good thing is that it's very simple to change it, so if you're having connectivity issues, you can change this setting on the spot. On the tuner setting, you can choose between 4 tuning displays and whether it goes into bypass mode when you have the tuner activated. On the foot switch setting, you can choose the priority function when pressing the foot switch. If you choose the tuner, it goes into tuner mode as soon as you press the switch. And likewise if you choose the boost mode. Whatever you choose, if you keep the switch pressed, it will go into the other mode. For example, if you choose the tuner mode and you long press the switch, it goes into booster mode. If you choose the booster mode and long press the switch, it goes into tuner mode. On the output level setting, you set up the output volume, and on the boost setting, you set up the boost level from 0 to 12 dB. Let's mention some general specifications. This is a 2.4 GHz wireless system, and it uses a 1 MHz channel bandwidth instead of 2 MHz, which expands the number of available channels to up to 79, thus giving the frequency hopping technology more channel options to avoid interference from other Wi-Fi devices. In other words, this ensures that it has a more stable and reliable signal transmission than other 2.4 GHz wireless systems. The audio quality is 24-bit 48 kHz, the frequency response is 20 Hz to 20 kHz, the latency is 2.5 to 8.7 milliseconds, as I explained before. The built-in battery capacity is 3.7 volt, 500 mAh, and it has a battery life of 6.5 hours. It has a range of up to 50 meters or 165 feet, depending on the environment. The transmitter dimensions are 72 by 49 by 23 millimeters, and its weight is 63 grams. The receiver dimensions are 122 by 95 by 60 millimeters, and its weight is 500 grams. So let's run some tests here. I will do 4 comparisons. First, I am comparing the actual cable tone and the wirelessly transmitted tone. I'm not going to compare it to other wireless systems, as the ultimate reference is the actual cable tone. Also, I will do a comparison of the cable tone on and off, and also test it with active pickups. Lastly, I will compare the tone going straight to my audio interface versus going with cable into the B8 and then to my audio interface. I suggest you use your pair of headphones if you have one, so that you can hear the difference in the audio more clearly. For the first test, which is going to be the most important, I will record 2 guitar riffs. One riff is with chords and less gain, and the other is with single notes and more gain. Both riffs will be recorded with both the cable and the transmitter, and then we will do an A-B comparison. I will add a section for each riff to the description of this video so that you can A-B test this. Just press on the section of the riff you want to hear and it will go to the beginning of it, and you can go back and forth. Keep in mind that the tone is rarely the same. The closest I found so far is the Shure GLX D16 wireless, which had more or less the same tone as the cable. This doesn't mean that if it's not the same tone, it's unusable live. It only means that some frequencies that weren't there before are introduced, usually in the highs and lows, and these frequencies might make your tone sound slightly more digitally processed or fizzy if you like. Overall though, if we are talking about a decent guitar wireless system, the guitar tone won't be affected to a major degree, or to the point where you start losing the main characteristics of your guitar tone. So let's hear the first riff recorded with a cable. Now let's hear it recorded with a transmitter. Now let's hear the second riff recorded with a cable. Now let's hear it recorded with a transmitter. I must say that I'm pleasantly surprised that the transmitted guitar tone is only slightly colored. You can hear some high frequencies being introduced, but much less than I expected, and I had to wear headphones to hear it clearly. I really thought that the tone would be much different, and this puts the B8 ahead of most of the guitar wireless systems out there in my experience. Major plus. For the next comparison, we are hearing the same riff with cable tone off and on. When you have the cable tone engaged, it indeed makes the tone warmer by adjusting the EQ as the manual says. I suggest you try both and see which one you prefer in general. The warmer tone is something you can also achieve with minor EQ adjustment. For the third test, I am just showing that the system also works with active pickups, so here is the riff played on an Ibanez mounted with EMG81 on the bridge. Bear in mind that all previous recordings were made with my Epiphone Les Paul mounted with Probaker 3 passive pickups. Lastly, since we're doing tests, let's make sure that the receiver itself doesn't add any coloration to the tone by going straight to my audio interface versus adding the B8 with cable in between. And yes, it doesn't, so that's good news. Let's talk about the price. So at the time of releasing this video, the B8 is €266 on Thomann, €291 on Amazon, and $349 on Sweetwater and Guitar Center. If you're interested in buying one, you can use the links below in the description. If you use the Amazon affiliation link, I am also getting a cut from Amazon with no extra cost to you, so I would appreciate that. So overall, I have to say the NUX B-8 is a really solid wireless system with a lot of thoughtful features built in. It's not just a transmitter and receiver, it actually replaces a few extra pieces of gear you would normally have on your board. The design is smart, the interface is easy to navigate, and the flexibility you get with the routing, the tuner, the boost, and even the firmware updates makes it feel like a modern, future-proof unit. It's definitely aimed at players who want more than just a wireless system that only does one job. Of course, it's not perfect. There are a couple of things to keep in mind depending on your needs, but overall, it feels like NUX really tried to deliver more value than the average wireless system. Let's state the pros and cons here. For the pros, we have tone difference from the cable tone is negligible. The magnetic charging for the transmitter, no need for cables. Built-in tuner and the boost function with foot switch control. The DI output with the ground lift plus the effects loop routing. The adjustable latency and stable 2.4 GHz connection with 79 channels. Firmware updates that add new features. Compact transmitter design with geek-friendly cable direction and works both with passive and active pickups. And clear LCD display and customizable interface. The cons are the 6.4-hour battery life is on the average side, so you will probably have to charge it before every gig or every second gig mostly. The price is higher than basic wireless systems. The extra features may be overkill if you just want a simple wireless. Since it has an effect loop where you might be using some stereo time effects, it might be a good idea to have a stereo jack and XLR DI outputs. This wraps up the in-depth dive into the NUX B-8 wireless system. Thank you again for watching. Huge shout out to NUX for sending this system over. It's a really cool piece of gear. If you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. It's a free and easy way to support the channel and it really helps me out. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram on HarryDime. And if you got any questions about the B-8 wireless system, don't hesitate to drop a comment below. I'll be happy to help. Thanks again for watching. My name is HarryDime and I'll see you in the next one.